Hello everyone and welcome to a very special episode of the Mark and Me podcast. As always, I'm your host Mark. Now today's episode is a follow-on special from my 2000trees special that I only released 2 days ago. On that episode I was joined by Dead Pony, Hell is for Heroes and the St. Pierre Snake Invasion. But this time round I've got 4 brand new interviews that I did backstage at the festival to share with you all today. On today's episode, I'm joined by Heart Attack Man, Brutus, Lostalone and Militarie Gun. I truly believe there's a massive mix here of interviews, a massive range of genres of music, a whole range of bands, and a bit of something for everyone, so I can't wait to get to those interviews with you in just a couple of minutes' time. I really do hope that this week you've all been enjoying the 2000trees Festival specials. It all started with Jen Hingley, which was a live podcast at the start of the week. She was an absolutely amazing guest and I was so thrilled to have her on. And the best part was that the people that couldn't come to the festival and see the live show were then able to listen back in the comfort of their own homes. The special that I released only 48 hours ago has been absolutely amazing. I've seen the St. Pierre Snake Invasion tweeting it, Hell is for Heroes and Dead Pony, and all the band members are saying how much they enjoyed listening back, so thanks so much to those guys. But today it's all about 4 brand new bands for you all, and I'm kicking today off with Heart Attack Man, a band that I only recently discovered and I absolutely fell in love with. They put on an amazing show at 2000trees and again are one of those bands that I think will just keep getting bigger and better, and I hope that more people discover them as soon as possible. So just before I hit that play button, let's give a quick shout out to the sponsor of the podcast, Richer Sounds. Thanks so much to those guys each and every month for sponsoring Mark and Me. And if you're in the market for a brand new TV or home cinema system, visit richersounds.com. Right, on with the show. Here's me and Heart Attack Man talking all things 2000trees.
Everybody get down and no one gets hurt. Everybody get down. I got a gun inside my sweatshirt. Dog eat dog, this world's a nightmare. I'm done trying to fight.
Both of you, welcome to the Mark and Me podcast.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us, Mark.
How are you both doing? I mean, at the moment, in the UK, not like you guys, I'm melting, so this is hot for us. This is a rare occasion.
How are you feeling, Ty?
I feel great. We got a little warm up in the American Southwest right before this, so This is starting to feel normal.
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt and shorts right now, so this is like my ideal fit. You know, it's like not too hot to where I can't wear the long sleeve, but you know, it's hot enough I want to wear the shorts.
This is beautiful. And what I do with all the bands that come on the podcast is I want to get to kind of know what made you be in the band you are now. So when it all started when you were a kid, what was that first album that each of you had that made you fall in love with music? Maybe you saved up with your pocket money, maybe a relative gave you an album, but was there that first album that you just fucking listened to all the time?
Oh man, I'd say the first album that like got me really hyped and like really motivated to play music. It also just incidentally kind of, you know, ended up being the first album that I was like there for and was like excited for the rollout and everything, was Saint Anger by Metallica. You know, definitely loaded words in the Metallica world. I feel like it's definitely not the coolest answer, but you know, I first heard Metallica when I was in like 5th grade, and you know, I heard like Enter Sandman and all that, like the hits, but then I was like around for when, you know, they were gearing up to release Saint Anger, and I was stoked, and then like that came out, I'm like, man, this is awesome, that snare tone is great, you know, I was like, this is doing it for me. And you know, as I've gotten older, I'm like, okay, it's not the best Metallica record, but I think it's the most honest one.
I watched the Some Kind of Monster documentary.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I have a whole new respect for that album.
Honestly, yeah, because it's like, that was the first time that, you know, the world got to see the biggest, first and really the only time where the entire world got to see the biggest metal band in the world in crisis. Yeah. And to see, oh, wow, Metallica doesn't even have it together right now. Like, it was very humanizing, I think. I think that was a very important, I mean, you know, we're not a metal band, but I think that was a very important moment for a lot of music, honestly. I think it like really humanized this side of things, where it's like, oh, like it's Metallica, they're like an institution, and here's this insane documentary where they clearly don't have it together. And like I think that's important. And I think another band that like really kind of brought like big for me growing up was Korn.
Yep.
That, you know, in a similar way, that I feel like really kind of changed the paradigm of metal to where it's like they made it a lot more like emotional, and like you could open up about certain things that really were kind of taboo before. And now it's like, you know, I think everyone's better off that we've kind of crossed that threshold, and it's like, you know, more acceptable to like.
Do you know what? I had Head on the
really?
podcast and of Brian, and I sat down with him, and he made me realize that these bands aren't invincible.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
put on these pedestals, and bands like Korn, they changed my life. Life is Peachy is one of the best albums ever.
Amazing.
It blew my mind. And even Metallica, and I always thought they were these immortal gods. And to watch James Hetfield in the face of Lars basically saying, fuck you, it made me realize that everyone is the same. Everyone's a human being. People have anxiety, people have depression, and it's fine. And if my gods that I've looked up to, like Jonathan Davis all my life, has the same issues that I have, then
Yeah.
it's okay to tell my friends that
It
I'm
is very
fucking
important,
shit.
you know,
Yeah.
as goofy of an answer it is for me to be like, yeah, Saint Anger was, you know, kind of what kick-started a lot of things for me. That's what Metallica is why I play music, you know,
And
that inspired me, and that was the first album I was around for. So, you know, that's kind of where it all started for me. What about you, Ty?
Yeah, so for me, I was blessed with having an older sister who was into cool stuff. So that meant borrowing a lot of CDs, and she had copies of Nimrod and Dookie. And
Amazing album.
yeah, so I would sneak into her room and take those often. And then for my birthday one year, my dad bought us tickets to go see them with Blink-182 on the Pop Disaster Tour in, I think it was 2002. I was 13. And so that was the first like big show I ever went to. And that was the moment where I was like, that's the thing. That's what I want to do with my life.
You know, it's crazy. I'm showing my age. I'm 41, but my first tour that I ever went to see was Green Day on their Dookie tour.
Wow, that's awesome.
When they came on, they started with, I think it was When I Come Around.
Uh-huh.
And as that guitar kicked in, and then Trey came in with that amazing little lick.
So cool.
Yeah.
I was blown away.
It's like one of my favorite bass lines of all time.
It's amazing.
So
Mike's
good.
like da-da-lin, and it's simple, but
Yeah.
it just fucking stuck with me. And ever since then, I was like, how do three people make so much noise and make it so good? And that was before they had a fourth guitarist.
Right.
Right.
And it made me honestly change my life, and discovered bands then like Nirvana and Pearl Jam and all this.
Absolutely.
But Green Day and, like you said, Metallica, those bands are still doing it today as good as they did 20 years ago.
Absolutely.
And it's fucking, it must be for a band like yourself to look up to and think, well, we could do what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's something in the Bay Area water, I think.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
how,
for
how
both
did
of
it
them.
work out for you guys with gigs then? I mean, what was the first one that made your ribcage shit, the hairs on your neck stick up, and made you like, I want to be in a band? Like, was there a certain gig you remember that just, that was it for you? That was, I'm never going to go and not be in a band, you know?
I would say a big one for me growing up, like a big concert, was Red Hot Chili Peppers with Queens of the Stone Age opening.
What
That was
a
really
lineup.
cool. Yeah, it was insane, and it was like so loud. But I mean, that was really cool. And then I'd say, like for like, for me, like for like smaller shows and stuff, I didn't really like. After, like, because I mean that was a huge amphitheater show. In terms of like my sort of transition to like going to smaller shows and like local shows and stuff, and finding smaller bands and everything, it was just kind of like my, you know, the local Cleveland punk scene, you know, from when started kind of falling into that when I was like 12, 13. And then, you know, played in my first band at that age, and just really just kind of started going to those, you know, smaller shows then. I couldn't really tell you like what the first one was that really made me think like, oh, this is it, like this is it. I found my spot, whatever, you know, my people, whatever, you know. I don't know, but I'd say that Red Hot Chili Peppers and Queens of the Stone Age was like the first big concert that like really struck a chord with me, and like just by sheer volume alone, you know, I was like,
have you had a chance to listen to the new Queens of the Stone Age album yet?
no, I haven't.
It's amazing. It's like, for me, like a return to form, and they've just like,
Oh, cool.
it just sounds like they've gone back to their roots. It's amazing. You're
That's
going to be
what's up.
blown away, man.
Okay, cool,
What
yeah.
about you? You can admit it if it wasn't a cool gig, by the way. Some people come on and they're like, please don't tell anyone. I'm like, well, it is being recorded, but they're like, Dave Matthews Band. And I'm like, that's fine. Like, if that's what you went to, you can't change that.
It wasn't DMB, but that would be sick.
Dave.
Yeah.
I love when people just refer to Dave Matthews Band as just
It's
Dave.
just Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah,
Everyone knows
Dave.
what you
I'm going
mean.
to see Dave. Oh,
Yeah.
Dave who? Dave Matthews Band. It's like,
Yeah.
Oh.
it's just like your boy.
Yeah, right.
My good friend Dave.
We go way
yeah,
back.
like we
Dog.
go way back.
Yeah.
I've been a fan for a long time, you know.
Yeah, other than that Green Day gig, I think like, so after that, my sister had started taking me to like some shows at the community center.
Nice.
And I went, and so I became a fan of just like the local bands that would play there. And I went to see the Suicide Machines one night, and a couple of the local bands that I would see at the community center opened that show. They're called Delay and the Merkers. And that was my first time going to like a club, like going downtown and going to like a club venue, and like it was packed. Someone's Liberty Spike went directly into my mouth, like as we were moshing,
No.
and I like it went like into my throat.
Oh my god.
And but like there was something.
Yeah, right
there-
when you deep throated that Liberty Spike, you know, you're like,
as I was tasting hair gel for the next week,
yeah,
I was,
was
like,
worth it.
you're like, I'm a lifer.
I was like, this. I
I'm
think
in
this
this
is what
shit.
I want to do with my
Yeah.
life.
I
Yeah.
want to taste hair gel, hard hair gel, wet hair gel for the rest of my life.
Yeah, sweat and hair gel and dye.
Did you ever meet anyone like? Cause me growing up, like the people that I knew that got really big into like, like huge mohawks and shit. I knew some people that would use egg whites.
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know if I knew anyone that did it, but that would have tasted better.
I knew a couple people, that did the egg whites. Use the egg whites to stylize
it.
it.
Works,
Yeah.
It does it then, why not?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're here at 2000trees, and how does it feel when you look at the poster and you see these incredible bands, some bands like Bullet for My Valentine, Headers for Heroes, even like Brutus, these huge bands. Are you like looking at the poster thinking it's quite intimidating because you want to prove a point, you want to like show the world that you're worthy of that slot, or are you just enjoying the moment?
There's a little bit of that. I feel like anyone in a band along the way, it's like, you have these like moments of feeling imposter syndrome kinda, but like we're just stoked to be here. I mean,
Yep.
we're just like, oh cool, like we get to play this dope festival. And I mean, the biggest thing for me personally is being able to see Rival Schools.
Yeah.
I love that band.
Yeah.
So
I
I mean,
interviewed Walter last week
awesome.
on a special, and
a
United
legend.
by Fate truly is one of my top 5 albums of all time.
it's incredible.
I can't believe it's 20 years old. That blows my
Yeah.
mind. But songs like Used for Glue, just that riff, the guitar, the production, he does it time and time again.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just blows
He
my
keeps
mind.
doing it to us.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I'll do Quicksand. Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. I'll do Rival Schools. And it's like, when do you stop? Like, when
Yeah.
do you stop being so fucking awesome at everything?
Just absolutely
Right.
goated.
Yeah.
Are you going to
Yeah.
get a chance to see their set?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
we're gonna
that's
stick
the
around.
main thing. Is like, I'm like, I gotta see that.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So like, honestly, I haven't been very nervous. Haven't been very like, in my feels about any of that, because I'm just really stoked to be here and stoked to see Rival Schools and all the other awesome bands we've been able to catch and everything. Like,
Yeah.
just we're like thinking more about just being excited to be here rather than getting in our heads like thinking like, oh, do we belong, do we deserve this?
Yeah.
Like, well, whether we feel that or not, it's like we're here, so it's like got to make the best of it.
Yeah. I think as far as like the intimidation goes, it's like we've worked so hard for so many years to get to the point where the band is at now.
Yeah.
That I ultimately always just fall back on like, how many times have we played these songs?
We put in the
And,
work,
like,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's just like you might feel when you first walk out there and you see how many people are there and stuff like that. There's like one moment of like, shit, but then it's just like you fall back on like, this isn't like our first show. It's not like we haven't practiced before or anything. Like we
Right.
know what we're doing at this point. It's like if anything, it helps like boost my confidence. Like we worked so hard to get here, and now all these people are here
It's a
to see
milestone
us.
moment for sure. You
Yeah.
know, it's like we'll never forget this. This is our first UK festival appearance, and it's like such an awesome festival. So I mean, it's like really for us, it's just like a huge accomplishment. That's like, all right, cool. We, made it to where we're able to play something like this, and it's incredible. So I mean,
But you
we're
put the work in. It's not like you've just been like born next day you're like, do you want this slot? You've put the graft in that then gets you this reward. So why wouldn't you reap it? Like, you've got to be here enjoying every moment, checking out bands that you would normally pay to see.
Right.
Yeah.
And just enjoying the experience and the weather and the atmosphere. It's a really nice sized festival. It feels like one big family.
For sure.
There's no dickheads. Look around you. Everyone seems lovely, having a nice time. And that's so important. I think, like, this is why I love music.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like, I admittedly have not been a big festival guy. Like, I haven't been a fan. Like, the experiences I've had going to festivals haven't been as positive. But I was like, man, if everything was like this, I'd be a festival guy.
Yeah, for sure.
What's the rest of the year looking like? Are you going to be recording or doing some more tour dates, or how's it looking?
We're doing some more tour dates after this.
In the UK, or
6 more UK shows? Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then we go back to the US. We have a couple festival appearances. In August?
In August,
In August, and we're playing a couple festivals then, and then we're laying low for just a little bit. But we have a tour coming in, like a US tour in November, December. And then after that, really hoping to get back over here and do some more like mainland Europe stuff as well.
Yeah.
Because
you're gonna be busy, guys.
Oh yeah.
We're used to it though.
Yeah, don't stop. If you're not keeping it going, if you're not keeping that momentum going, and it's like you're gonna slow down.
Yeah.
You know, we like to stay in motion with it.
That's awesome.
Now more than ever, it's easy to get lost in the mix of everything if you're not active. You know. So
the question I ask everyone that comes on, it's my final question for you guys today, is every band that comes on gets to choose the last song that's played. So any music by any bands, by anyone in the world,
oh man,
you both get to choose. But what I really love about this question is I always find out the reason why the song came to you before any other. I know you're both in a band. It takes a lot longer. There's 10,000 songs in your head already.
Yeah.
But what's a song that means a lot to both of you that you really adore, that when this interview is all done, edited, and the world's ready to listen, it plays out and you guys are there like, yep, that's the reason why I want this song to be played after our interview today?
Oh, our songs?
No. Any band.
Any song.
Band. Okay,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, what is the context of this? Like, what's the last song you want to hear before you die? Type of thing.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Frantic by Metallica.
No, nothing off of Saint Anger. Man, that's a really good question.
All right, all right. I think Good Things by Descendants, because I've just been feeling good things about this festival and this trip so far, and everything that's going on in my life and with our band, and I love that song. Every time I hear that song, I crack a big old smile. It's one of my favorite tracks of all time.
That's awesome. And yourself, you feel even more pressure now.
Yeah, no, that's
like,
really hard.
I'm
That is really tough. Because I mean, I got like songs that I'm like, you know, favorite songs of all time, but I'm like, it's like songs I'm like, okay, it's like a bummer, you know what I mean? I'm like, what's my favorite like feel good song?
I don't know.
Probably Party Hard by Andrew WK.
Yeah. Let's get a party going.
Hell of a fucking epic song. And
It's great.
Yeah, it is.
You can't be miserable listening to that.
Exactly.
No.
And it makes me feel like I'm out having a beer in the sun.
Yeah.
So it could be perfect.
Also, one of my favorite live sets I've ever seen was Andrew WK.
He's chaotic.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah, it's a good one. And what's happened to him? Is he still touring? I've not heard his name for a long time.
I don't really know.
Yeah, I'm not
I
sure.
have no idea.
But
if you're listening right
I
now,
wish
Yeah,
I wish them all
Andrew.
the best.
I'm gonna find out what's going on. But
Bang my line. Let's make party harder.
Yeah.
that's awesome, guys. Thank you so much for coming on. Are you here for the next couple of days, or are you heading off? Or
We're here just for today, and then we have a day off tomorrow in Birmingham, and then we start the rest of our
Birmingham.
dates.
Not Birmingham.
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 Yeah.
I don't live too far from Birmingham, like 45 minutes. It's okay. It's all right. You'll have a good blast.
What's it? Where are we at? What is it? Cheltenham?
Cheltenham, yeah.
Cheltenham.
Yeah, we've been saying Cheltenham.
Yeah,
There's a lot
yeah.
of hams.
A lot of
Yeah.
But,
just,
I
you
hope
know,
have
just
a good
some-
blast, man, and
Some
it's good day off.
Midwest dorks talking out the side of their mouth.
Yeah. We're clearly from the States and like the middle of it.
It's good,
But
man.
we're gonna go to the Black Sabbath Bridge tomorrow.
This is totally
That's
awesome here in Birmingham.
Yeah.
I'm having a totally rad time.
Yeah.
But thank you for coming on. It's a
Thank you,
pleasure to
Mark.
meet you. And
Absolutely,
when
thank
you do
you.
some UK shows, if there's more dates and there's more next year, I'll come down.
Yeah.
We'll record again. We'll do something longer.
Absolutely.
I'm going to get a band on, introduce myself. We have like 10 minutes. It's a festival.
Oh, yeah,
And then
for sure.
dive deep and do like an hour follow-up. So
Sweet.
if you guys want to do that in the future, it'd be a pleasure.
Please.
For sure,
Awesome,
for sure.
man. Thank you
Excellent.
so much.
Thank you.
When it's time to party, we will party hard.
So there's the first interview out of 4, and hey, to start with Heart Attack Man was brilliant. A great band with so much energy, a brilliant interview, not serious, had a lot of fun, and that's all I wanted at 2000trees. It really was an amazing weekend, and to see Heart Attack Man was honestly an experience that a lot of people need to do. They're a band that are just going to keep on getting bigger and better, and I can't wait to see the journey they go on. Next up for me is the band Brutus, a band again that I've only recently discovered, but my god, their main stage performance from this weekend was one of the most talked about sets of the festival. And rightly so. They are epic. I can't wait now to go and see them at Arctangent only next month, but this band are just absolutely unreal. So I think the best thing to do is to get straight to the interview. So here's me and Brutus talking all things 2000trees.
I'm here with Brutus. Both of you, thank you so much for joining me today on the Mark and Me podcast.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for having us, absolutely.
What I like to do with all bands that come on is find out the first album that you owned that made you fall in love with music. So maybe you were a child and you worked and got a CD or an album. What was the first one that each of you bought that you fell in love with straight away?
I'll start.
Yeah, sure.
At school, I got a tape with on one side Nirvana and the other side Rage Against the Machine.
Wow, those are massive.
Yeah, that was. My parents had no music at home and no vinyl or nothing like that. For me, it was totally a bomb coming in. I think it was a 30-minute cassette, so not everything from both albums was on it. It was just like it stopped in the middle somewhere. But it was my first I remember was that cassette.
How old were you when you had these?
13, I think.
Wow.
13, 14.
And I mean, Rage Against the Machine, that still sounds today like it was recorded yesterday. It's an album that is timeless for me.
Yeah, what they did or what they do and what they wanted to do now again, but I think they cancelled everything because Zach is sick or hurt or something.
It's such a shame. What about you? What was your first album?
The first one I remember, it's Rory Gallagher, the live record, the Irish Tour record. I was like, I don't know, 5 or 6, and my dad is a huge fan, so that's the first record I remember, like, wow. Yeah, it really drew me in, yeah.
Music changed for me when I went to see my first live band. Mine was Green Day.
Yeah.
I'm 41 years old, but it was during their Dookie tour, Green Day Dookie. And I couldn't believe it. The sound was amazing, the gig was amazing, Billy Joe singing his heart out. What was your first gig that you remember?
The first gig I remember is from a Belgian band, Soon. Soon, yeah.
I've never heard these guys.
Yeah, unfortunately they broke up a couple of years ago, but it was like a Belgian band, and it was the first time I saw a band that they had like a punk edge, but it wasn't punk, it wasn't hardcore, it was something completely different. And that's one of the shows, I think I was 13 or something, and that was amazing. Yeah.
Did you know at that point that you wanted to be in a band? Were you like, that's what I want to do?
Yeah, definitely.
Instantly?
Yeah. I think they're on Spotify now. Soon, Soon.
Yeah.
Incredible stuff.
I'm going to listen to them. After today, I'll go home, I'll go on Spotify, I'll listen to Soon and see what they're like.
Yeah, it's I love them. It's I still listen to them like, quite a lot.
We're from the same scene, and I also remember Soon.
Yeah.
My first gig was not in the local scene. I wish it was, like with bands like Soon or all the bands from the area where we grew up, but it was on a big stage. It was Channel Zero.
Nice.
It's a Belgian metal band. They have one very good album. It's called Unsafe, I think. It's from 94, 95. I don't remember. And it's a very cool band. And they were like the opener of the big festival in Belgium. It's called Rock Werchter. It's like one of the biggest festivals Belgium has. Like even in Europe, it's like very, very good festival, very huge. And they were the opener, and I was there on my first festival day to see Channel Zero.
How old were you?
16, I think, by then. 16. I had friends who lived close, and then my parents allowed me to go with them.
That's incredible. And now we're here at 2000trees. Be honest, do you get nervous before you go on stage? Are you kind of intimidated? Do you look and think, wow, there's some big bands here, we need to go on stage and really, really put on a show?
I have it always for me. Every show, even if it's a club show and it's just us and an opening act, or I'm always nervous. You always want to play your best, and it's a thing. we do this. It's not just this is not a job. It's like we live for this. So if you go on stage, I mean, I'm really jealous of people that can just walk on stage and do their thing. I'm not like that. I'm like, I'll do my thing, but I don't know how it's gonna be. I just want to play well, especially for Stephanie and Peter on stage.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I'm more nervous for like them, like Stan and Stephanie, for my band and for my sound guy, than for the other bands or like.
Yeah.
I'm not so nervous, like because I'm mostly nervous in the beginning of a tour, like the beginning of a new set or new songs, and that are not in my fingers so very well. But I feel like this. We already played 50 shows this year. It's like I tell myself there is no reason to be nervous because we did it so many times. If I feel it coming, it's like we already did this so many times, so it makes me relax a little bit more. But in the beginning, the first 10 shows, I was that nervous. First 10, 15 shows of the run, I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna fail. I failed. I did fail, and then people film it, and you fail, and it's on YouTube, and it's like, fuck. But now it's like different. I'm also more relaxed. If I fail, it's like whatever.
And at the end of the day, I mean, it's music. We're all human.
We're human.
Yeah.
So
we make errors.
Yeah. So
I
it's
sometimes like an error because it shows it's real.
Yeah.
So we had to stop a show. I don't remember. It was not this year, but longer ago, and the people were like cheering so hard because we had to stop a song in the middle because we fucked up and we had to start over.
Yeah, we started laughing on stage.
Yeah, and it was like, and a lot of people came to us. That was so cool at you guys, and I was like, okay, it's not about perfection.
People can relate. People know it shouldn't be perfect all the time. It's not a machine. It needs to be real. A mistake is fine, and if your fans love you, they're gonna have to smile with you.
Yeah.
But
Which
you
is
still want to
nice.
do your best.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
And
It's like cooking for your girlfriend. You still want to. Okay, I did too much salt, but no, you want to do your best. You want to be your best meal for your girlfriend.
Always. So did you put on a good meal today? Was 2000trees set a good meal?
I think so. Because
did you enjoy it?
I mean, I had a great time. It was so hot on stage. I had like 2-3 times that I was like, yeah, there I go. They're gonna have to pick me off.
The sun can
stage.
be like a killer if it's like straight on your face and you have to like play and like concentrate and move a little bit. And
you always think your guitar is out of tune because of the heat. But we had a great time.
The strings go flapping.
And they were lovely. So it was fun. Yeah.
And where does it go from here? Do you guys want to now come back and do a tour? Is there any talk of some dates?
Yes. Stephanie forgot to tell on stage, but we're not like so much of a talkative band on stage, which I like. It's okay, but. We're gonna come back in I think November or December. December.
Amazing.
And we play like London, Bristol, Glasgow, Manchester maybe. I don't know, like the big cities.
That's
we're
awesome.
Gonna, And we're gonna come from Arctangent too.
Yes.
And I'm gonna be at Arctangent.
It's gonna be a fun one as well.
Really and we did Download Festival, which was also very cool.
I was there. That was amazing. But it was so hot for 4 days. I was melting. I couldn't believe it. But Arctangent's a bit smaller. But every band there is incredible. That lineup is amazing.
Oh yeah, I mean the day we play at Arctangent, it's like a lot of our friends from Belgium are playing as well.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be cool. But like the bands we play with, I'm totally not gonna be nervous.
Are you on the same day as Converge and?
Yes.
Empire State Bastard.
Yes.
We played with them in Download. They played right after us. Fuck, that's cool what they were doing.
Really brutal.
They're really brutal. And for me, original. I was like, I didn't know what to expect, and I was like.
I'm going to literally go and see them after this today. They're on over there in about half an hour.
Nice.
And normally it's Biffy Clyro, that band, who are so different. So I love that they just go out there and do what they want.
And Dave, the drummer,
Dave Lombardo.
He checked out all our set on the side of the stage,
a
Download Festival. And I think with a guy with a track record like that, who comes early or checks out bands, like small bands like us, like before on the festival, I think that's very, very, very cool.
Yeah. Did it make you more nervous looking around and seeing the Slayer drummer? Like, oh my god,
yeah, it's unbelievable! I still get goosebumps. But he walked to, he walked to Stephanie after the show, and he said like, she should tell this, but he was like, very nice show.
My name is Dave, and then it was looking like Lombardo, and she was like, I know who you are.
Yeah,
it's fine.
He introduced himself to Stephanie, and we were like,
so humble.
Fuck.
Yeah, really nice.
Pinch me moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
And do you kind of now look at the place like a festival here to try and win fans? Do you know that, because you're still on the main stage, it's a hell of an achievement. Do you then think, I want some people to walk away and then find out about your band?
Absolutely.
Definitely, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's a cool thing about festivals. You when you play a club show, everybody there buys a ticket to see
Because
you.
they want to see Brutus, yeah.
And that's a good thing, and that's nice, and you know you're gonna have a great time on stage. But at a festival, it's like there's something in the air, like okay, yeah, fuck.
Yeah, always
There's a
do
lot
that.
of people here that didn't come for us, and
you when you look into the crowd, you see people nodding with a song, and you see like people, what are they doing? And it's those people I really love to play for them.
yeah.
So do you guys get to see some other bands while you're here, or have you got to just do some press and then leave, or are you going to try and get to see like rival schools or?
Oh, that would be
Empire
great.
State
That would be
Bastards.
nice. That would be really nice. Yeah. I think we're gonna have some food.
Yeah. I'm gonna-
Everyone's walking around with nice food. And
Yeah.
I'm really hungry, and I'm
same.
like, oh, it all looks
Yeah.
so good. What
Same,
I'll
same.
do is I'll let you get some food soon. But what I do on the podcast is my final question is every band that comes on, 280 episodes I've done now. Each person that comes on chooses the final song that's played. So it's not by yourself. What's a song that you both love that you want to be played on the podcast that is personal to you? I know it's hard because there's
One
so many
song,
songs.
one song.
And
One
it's-
song each if you want.
And it's the last song of the
That's played.
podcast,
Yeah,
of the
and
last
you-
song of my life. No.
Last song on the podcast or if you're going to die, what's the last song you want to listen to? What's your favourite song that would want to be played?
Okay, for me,
It's a tough one, isn't it?
yes, but I'm gonna make it difficult for you to find it as well.
Oh man.
Yeah, sorry, man.
I've got Spotify, I'm fine.
No, you go first because I have to think about what.
I'm gonna say the first thing that came to my mind is like The Funeral from Band of Horses.
Oh fuck.
It's who?
The Funeral
Oh,
from
amazing.
Band of
Yes.
Horses. Yeah, play that one.
And what's the reason? What's the one that?
Because
made
I thought your question was like the last song you ever want to hear.
Oh yeah.
Or when you I was like, my brain was like the last song
I
ever.
always want to know the one that came to your head first, and if that's the one, then that's
The
reason.
Funeral of Band of Horses.
Yeah, mine is The Smiths. There's a light that never goes out. Yeah. Woohoo! Wow. That's my song.
Just
Yeah.
drop the microphone now and walk off.
Boom.
Like, it doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah. Fuck
Guys,
yeah.
thank you coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having
I
us.
wish you all the luck. Let's meet up and do another interview at our tangent.
Sure. Yeah.
Longer. After we've eaten, we'll sit down, we'll do longer. I
Perfect.
can't wait to see your set, but thank you so much for coming on, guys.
Thanks for
Okay,
having
thank you
us.
very
Thank you
much.
so much.
My friend.
Cool.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you.
Take me out tonight, where there's music and there's people and the young and the light. Driving in your car, I never
So there's my interview with the amazing Brutus, and as I said on the start of today's interview, I can't wait to see these guys at the Arctangent Festival in August, and if you haven't got a ticket, go along. I'll be there doing press, and I'm even on stage again doing a live podcast for you all, so that's a reason to get a ticket alone. Next up, I'm joined by the band Lostalone, a band that I've been a fan of for a long time. I think Steve as a frontman is one of the best entertainers out there. He has such a great voice, one of the best guitarists and songwriters for me, and I can't wait for you guys to hear this interview because it's just fun, chaos, and we don't really even talk about music. It's just nerds chatting, and they won't mind me saying that. There is a bit of a backstory as well. I did interview Steve a few years ago, but this interview got completely lost. And when I say lost, it got stolen out of my car. And I'm still furious about it now. And one day I really hope that I can find it and release it as part of my Lost Tape special, because it's something that was really special. But we talk about that on today's interview, so I don't want to spoil it. So I think the best thing to do now is to hear the interview. So here's me and Lostalone talking all things, well, breaking into cars. I'm here with Lostalone. Long story short, I've already spoke to Steve, but it's a long lost episode which I don't think anyone will ever hear about because of people in Derby stole it.
Which is so funny considering we didn't do it in Derby and that is our hometown. But we've now just realised that maybe somebody knew there was golden words were spoken and some of our hometowners Was it your car broken into?
Yep,
Your
my-
car was broken into. This is a shout out to Derby for breaking into a car. If anyone's got that, then please return it.
Do you know what the worst part about it is? No one ever released it. Like, you hear about, like, the Beatles' long-lost recordings getting
because
stolen.
it's too soon. It's going to be like
It's going to be.
we're all, when we're dead, that's when it becomes the priceless. We need to wait for us two to be dead.
That's it.
Then it becomes like, and Mark has got the contacts in Derby who stole it.
Yeah.
So you already now know when we die.
Or Mark
Released.
stole it, and this is a big fucking conspiracy.
Well, yeah.
Or I didn't like how it went. I called Mark
yeah.
man.
and said, I know he's going to be in Derby. Steal this.
Because his interview's
Because
terrible.
I wasn't into the interview and Mark stole it and
Oh,
I've
man.
got it in my bag right now.
I felt we really connected that day as well. It
No,
was
we
a real
did.
good
We
one.
did. We did. To be fair.
Yeah, it was awesome. But times have kind of changed, and here we are today at 2000trees. But you guys had one of the busiest summers ever last year. Like, the fact that I know you're friends with My Chemical Romance, and they absolutely adore your work. But I know you've been asked this a lot. But what was it like when you had that phone call with them saying, you know, we're reforming, the rumours are true, do you want to come with us?
Well, from my perspective, it was a kind of weird. Like me and Mark talk about this a lot. I seem to be able to manifest things that other people go whatever, and we'd started talking, haven't we, about wanting to do, because we'd on a hiatus, as you know. Last time we spoke, it was doing solo stuff. Me, Mark, and Alan remained. We were best friends still. Everyone was in a better place, and we were like, should we do new music? And right around that time, Ray and Gerard actually just got in touch with me and went, would I like to play solo on their shows?
Wow.
And I had this weird moment of like turning that down, knowing that it would be perfect for our first shows back because no one knew. So that's in like November 19. They were like, told him it was Lostalone. I was a bit nervous because I didn't know if like they were asking me to do it because they wanted fresh, you know, like we want new bands. But when I said like, they were just over the moon. They were so excited. And then it wasn't announced. And then the pandemic hit, and we had to keep it secret for 2 years.
I mean, you did very well because you never did any like
we
sort
never
of
mentioned
cryptic
a thing.
like any little.
No,
it was harder for Mark because I was able to. We realised that we started making a record as lockdown got longer. We were like, well, let's just make an album in remotely. So I could post all these things of like, hey, I'm recording. It looked like it was solo, but Mark was there, and you were constantly like, I want to post about this, but we were like, you can't let people know we're together.
Yeah, it's just that stupid thing that like you learn being in a band that I actually really don't like it when you put there's a big announcement coming soon. Like,
an announcement about an announcement.
that,
Oh God,
we've got something to, because in experience sometimes things just don't happen, and there's always that worry that the longer it went on, the pandemic, no one knew what was happening, and we were just like, well, we may as well make a record. We've got time now.
And then there was a point where, when it got postponed again, that time, towards it getting close when we announced, we actually thought, we've told like friends that we've got a record, we've made a record. We were like, there was a real close point where those shows almost didn't happen because of insurance. They were like, unless we know they're happening. So anyway, it was quite nerve-wracking, but it was fantastic to, on one day, last year, on one day, to be able to just go on our socials and go, hiya, we're back, there's a new song, and we're doing stadiums with My Chemical Romance, and our fan base just went insane. It was such a fun day.
Was there part of you that kind of thought, let's give it in bits? Like, we're back, that's one announcement. Here's a single new announcement. But you just went...
We planned it to be the most ridiculous... People had been asking, do you think you'll do stuff? Because they knew we were friends.
Yeah.
And we always been so... But we thought, how you just said, would it be cool to drip feed? But then we were like... How like... I don't
Just
say,
melt their brains,
just like, check this out, boom. I think the only thing we held back was that we waited about a week to say we made an album, but in terms of a new song, we're playing these shows and we're back was like one day, and it did kind of like, because we're not like a massive band. It was very good to like just be able to hit that, and we got the same thing we got when we first started, which is they've obviously paid to get that or something. So like, people knew when we were first around, because a lot of like My Chem, Paramore, 30 Seconds to Mars, Shikari all took us on tour. People thought we were paying to get on tours, and it was because they all heard our music and asked us, personally. So we kind of fought against that. We were like, believe us, guys, we can't afford the bus.
Yeah.
This is not. We've not got some Svengali. This is 3 guys from Derby.
We're eating meal deals every day while the bands are in catering.
Yeah, literally, McDonald's was a highlight.
Yeah. Boots meal deals should not go underappreciated. £3.49 is a good meal deal,
Totally,
to be honest.
man, totally.
But like, to come back then with an album and kind of sit on it because of the pandemic and record and everything, and like you said, people would start thinking, oh, it's just his solo record. What did it feel like when that plaster was ripped off and you could tell the world? Like, it must have been incredible, because it wasn't like this fact that you announced you were back and then you were going to record. You had already got this treasure done.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. I mean, it felt strange because it was something we'd never done before, wasn't it? Where we didn't see each other. I locked down pretty crazily because of my asthma, and it was myself in London, Alan up in Carlisle, Mark in Derby, the guy who mixed it's in LA, Greg Wells. I mean, we pulled in. What was nice about it for me was the amount of love for our bands. There was not really a financial thing for the people who got involved. Greg Wells is one of the biggest producers on the planet now.
An absolute genius as well.
Yeah, a genius. And it was a message to Greg. Greg, we're making a record in lockdown. We play these stadiums in secret. Is there any chance, because he's worked with us before and Warner Brothers had paid. We were like, is there any chance you'd be up for it? He was like, yep, love you guys. Adam Noble, who's made the last 2 Biffy records, he's mixed it as well. Adam's mixed our new single that came out last week. All these people we feel like we had a lot of currency of, we were never like bad people in our career, and everyone who worked with us liked working with us. And a lot of, during the pandemic, people were like, oh, I'm not doing anything now, they're doing it, we'll help them. So we managed to make this record very geographically around the world without any of us leaving our homes, really. Mark went to a studio in Nottingham to do his drums.
Yeah.
I never left my apartment. I could watch Mark doing the drums in Nottingham on the screen and listen to him and talk to him like I was in the studio with him. It was just crazy.
But it was unique because we hadn't played the songs, a lot of them together.
No.
Like, so it was a very weird
First time
way
we
of.
played them was the show with the warm-up show, then the Mike M shows.
That's
So it was
insane.
crazy. Yeah.
So,
First time we played those songs.
Mark, did you feel nervous because you'd been not writing, you hadn't been on social media? Steve's obviously had a promotional tour stuff with solo record, all this sort of stuff. All the hype was there. He was still doing stuff active online. You were kind of hiding in the background, knowing you were sitting on this treasure. Did you kind of have that nerves about, like, shit, it's been a long time since we've played. Are people still going to want to turn up? Are people still going to want to hear us?
I think every
I got that today.
every band has that. We were talking about that earlier today. Everyone has that feeling, I think, who's in a band. I mean, I'd been doing bits and bobs of music, but I realised that when we started working on this album again, it made me realise why I loved Lostalone so much. It's just it's a different entity. It's like it's all encompassing, like, in my life, more so than any other sort of musical thing that I'd done. So it's that feeling of, like, being that band again was actually a really, like, comforting kind of feeling. It was a really nice feeling.
I felt like, and you said this as well, I never realised I missed being Stephen from Lostalone.
Yeah.
And then suddenly I was that again, and I didn't realise that was something I missed. And now I just love that that's, like, my thing.
But the thing is, like, and this is with full respect, most bands would do quite a few warm-ups and would do some tour, we
didn't even do any rehearsals.
You went like
rehearsals.
Like we're back, and next week we're at the Eden Project, which is fucking huge. And I keep seeing your picture for like promotional stuff where you're playing, and the crowd are all fucking moving with you.
I post that constantly.
And I was like, that should come back. Like, most people come back like I love Headers for Heroes, but they're doing Bedford Esquires as a small warm-up. Then they come in here. You guys were like, fuck it, let's go straight in.
We played Derby in a tiny room to like
was it
100 people. No, it was the venue in Derby.
Oh, the venue, right, yes.
Smaller.
Yes.
Which isn't even there now, there's nothing there. But they made it smaller for us. We played it just to be able to play on stage. I was nervous at that, and then at the Mike M shows, they're the least nervous I've ever been in my life. It felt so, I think because of, like, me and Mark grew up, you know, I love Queen. It just felt like the most
You don't just love
thing.
Queen, you're the most obsessed Queen fan I've seen in my life.
I could, you know, I'm the best at Queen.
Yeah, ever. More than Brian May.
Actually, definitely, because he forgets stuff. But but yeah, it just felt like, I'm more nervous today, like way more nervous, because at the Mike M shows, I think we knew there was going to be an audience in the stadium, and we also played with them on tour before and know that we share a lot of fans. Whereas today, I know people got other choices, and maybe like We always feel quite like the underdogs. Like, do people even know? Do people know us? This is my anxiety coming out about.
But that's quite humble though, and that's quite nice. You're not here like, yeah, we're fucking back. We're here at the festival. Everyone's going to come and see us. We're the fucking best band in the world.
No.
You're like, I really hope people come and see us.
I know if there's people there. Don't get me wrong. I know we'll win them over and have a great show.
Yeah, of course.
But what is nerve-wracking to me is I can't, in my mind, understand right now why anybody's going to decide to go, oh, let's go watch that band. I can't compute it.
It's like when we did our tour last year, and we quite quickly sold out the London show, and it sort of it blows my mind. I'm like, wow, like how's that happened?
It was a big venue, but we asked our agent, please put us in small venues, because we were just like, we don't know if any. We can never visualise the fact that anybody, even though I've seen people tweeting or threading to be current.
That'll die next week. No one's going to stick around on threads.
Well, have you seen Musk has sued him already?
Oh, wow.
He said that he's taken Twitter employees and they've took proprietary information.
Fucking hell.
I mean, this will be outdated by the time this goes out.
I'm going to have to release this tonight.
Yeah, quick,
now.
Get it out quick.
Yeah.
On threads.
Quickly. Subscribe and follow us on threads.
Yeah.
And then next week, Mastodon or whatever the next one is. I'm horrified that you actually took your Star Wars trainers out the box. I own those from about 15 years ago.
Dude, these are my second pair.
And I've got them in the original box, like the figures,
I
have
as well.
And I've never took them out. And I know I'm a nerd, but I've got like Back to the Future trainers and the McFly.
Listen,
I will never let any bit of dust get on.
Listen, in the van on the way down, everybody went, because I normally have them in the thing, and then, but because I live in London now, we've gone up to Derby to rehearse and come here. This is my most streamlined. I'm going on stage like this. I've just got a limited edition Star Wars jacket to put on, which you'll probably enjoy being a Star Wars fan. But I've got a secondary pair of these. I wore these for all the touring and they're battered. These are my fresh pair that I have to buy them off eBay.
Jesus,
my original pair are like
mine have never
dust.
even come out of the box, because it's like the figure, isn't it, where the box, like everyone's listening now going,
pack.
Shut up.
Yeah, I am wearing amazing Luke Skywalker X-Wing pilot Adidas.
They're incredible.
And I've teamed them with these blue socks because I thought it kind of worked.
You've got that with the little blue in the here as well.
Yeah.
This is great for an audio podcast. But Home Alone t-shirt as well.
Yeah, I've got my Home Alone tattoo on my thumb.
And you got Home Alone Lego.
I haven't. My Home Alone Lego house is still better than even playing a stadium. Building that was the greatest 23 hours non-stop.
I was watching you on Instagram.
Did you follow it? Yeah,
I was
great.
I was like, oh man, like I'm gonna have to go and buy this now. And my wife is quite understanding, but when I've got the DeLorean, then I've got the Home Alone Lego. She's literally like, how much is it? I'm like, 50 quid. She's like, oh right. I'm like,
it's not.
This is recorded. £200. I'm like,
it's not £200.
Well, I think it was $299.
No, the Home Alone house I got was $499.
I paid $299.
Well,
I didn't have all the lights and stuff.
I've been ripped off, mate.
Oh bloody hell! But my
I didn't pay for it actually.
My mate got the Star Wars one, which was like 800 quid.
Oh, that's my dream.
Yeah,
the really big one.
Yeah, and do you know what? He's done what we did with the Star Wars trainers. He keeps it boxed and sealed because he's like.
Listen, here's my thing. I keep these. I only get these out to play on stage with.
Yeah.
And I am a bit silly wearing them on the grass today, but I kind of think like. I'm not somebody who buys vinyl and puts it on a wall. I listen to it.
Yeah.
I want my stuff to wear and use.
Occasionally.
But this is a. I mean, no one can see this. This is a early '90s Home Alone kids T-shirt.
It's beautiful.
I really like it.
I think we're getting looked at like we need to wrap up. What's the time?
We've covered all the key topics.
Yeah, I mean, what I wanted to know, and this is what I do on the podcast now, and I've done it with every guest that's been on probably since the last 2 or 3 years. Everyone that comes on gets to choose the last piece of music that's played, so it can be any song, any band by anyone
played
in the world.
on the podcast.
So as this interview's wrapped up, I've edited it. It's all on Spotify and stuff. After the Lost Alone section, you'll have a little choice of a song. Because there's 2 of you today, you're either going to fight over it right now, you're going to agree on it, or I'll go home, edit, and then I'll choose the song I like the most.
What we listened to in the van earlier.
What, Wham?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd go with Edge of Heaven, Wham.
Isn't there just a documentary on Netflix or something?
Just
about
come out
Wham?
2 days ago, yeah.
So again, nice and recent.
Yeah, well, I mean, George Michael's a genius songwriter, and if you listen to Wham's 14 singles, he's just a genius. And what people don't realise is he was producing it as well.
I didn't know that.
He's the producer. I mean, that is a genius. And the documentary is beautiful.
Yeah.
His Andrew Ridgeley, his partner in Wham, is so humble.
His Unplugged set is mind-blowing.
Oh, it's incredible.
I could talk about him forever, but the song "Amazing," the lyrics and the production,
incredible.
absolutely in mine. Like genuinely top 10 songs ever.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say that wouldn't be our like last song we'd ever play, but on this today, Edge of Take Me to
you agree,
the
which
Edge
makes
of
editing for me even easier.
Yeah, we're agreeing. Yeah.
Awesome. What we'll do, and I mean this, guys, I want to do like a special. I interviewed Ball in Pursuit recently, and we hit it off straight away. And then we went back and we did like an hour special. When you guys are free or when you're chilled, you're not that far away. Let's sit down and do a proper hour.
Yeah, I'm up for that, man.
Talk loads more. I want to talk more about you guys going on tour with McFly because
we should maybe do it just before that or something, or get it or on that.
Yeah,
come to a show and we'll do it there.
You involved in a lot of the songwriting with that. I saw you in the studio updates. And
I wrote 7 songs with them on the new album.
And you guys just hit it off straight away. I see you and Dougie on the videos and stuff. But again, and this ends the interview when we're supposed to be wrapped up. But you announced this. You're going on tour with fucking McFly. Those arenas, those places.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be really fun.
You must be excited.
Very much.
Yeah, we are. Like, we just love being on tour and like.
You don't do it small, do you? You're like Mike Care, McFly.
We feel like we could.
Next week we're supporting Foo Fighters at Wembley.
We do. Well, I've got something in mind. I'm going to manifest for next year. So watch your space.
Oh man.
It's nothing to do with Foo Fighters. Just it sounded like it was, but no.
Yeah,
but I have got something in mind that I am going to make happen.
Don't be nervous about today. We'll come and check you out.
Thank you very much.
Guys, thanks for coming back on. If anyone steals this right now and you're from Cheltenham Spa and you steal this, then it's definitely one of these fuckers.
It definitely is, yeah.
That's fair. Thank you guys so much.
Nice one.
Thanks,
Cheers, man.
Cheers,
Thank you very much.
So there's my interview with me and the amazing Lostalone. And like I said earlier, I truly believe that Steve is one of the best frontmen in music, an absolute legend, so nice to talk to, so accommodating, and just an all-round nice guy. And hey, if we can talk about Lego and Star Wars trainers, he's going to be welcome back on the podcast whenever he wants. And I will try and catch up with him when they're supporting McFly and get another interview for you guys at home. And if you are the person that broke into my car and you did steal my laptop and all my audio gear and you still have those files, please give them back. Please. It would be amazing to go out and release all these lost episodes for the people out there, and it would mean so much to me. And hey, if you did break into my car, you're a fucking arsehole as well. But on with the show. Finally, on today's episode, I'm joined by a band that I think are just going to be future headliners, Militarie Gun. They're for me one of these bands that are just going to keep on getting bigger and blow up just like the amazing Turnstile. And the band are amazing, and that's why I'm finishing today's podcast special with this interview. It's absolutely awesome. So here's me and Militarie Gun talking all things 2000trees.
I'm here with Militarie Gun. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me today at the Mark and Me podcast.
Thank you for having me.
What I like to do with all bands that come on the podcast is get an idea about what basically got you into music. So when you were growing up, what was that first album that you remember buying that made you basically fall in love with bands?
I mean, I feel like there's a lot of different answers because you also remember different things over time. But
of course, man.
I was obsessed with music very young. My Nana was really into Elvis.
Nice.
And then I got into things like Elton John, and I was really obsessed with Elton John when I was a little kid, and Garth Brooks even, like really random stuff. And then kind of the first records I started getting into, independent of, family members, was things like Blink-182. The first CD I remember like working for and going and buying was Rancid and Out Come the Wolves.
Wow.
But Slipknot was probably the first controversial one where like my parents really hated that, and obviously it made it that much more sweet to want it. Like I was given $20 to go to the mall one day, and they said you could get any shirt you want, just not a Slipknot shirt. So of course the only shirt I bought was a Slipknot shirt that had all the masks on the front. Yeah. So, like that was kind of the first. Slipknot was the first band where it's like tantalizingly antagonistic to authority. You
That's
know,
amazing, man.
where it was exciting to like them because authority hated it. You know,
I had I'm probably older than you. I'm 41 now, but what I did is when I started listening to music, Nirvana had t-shirts with territorial pissing on, and corporate whore and all this, and I did exactly the same. My parents were like, you're not having any Marilyn Manson t-shirt, any Nirvana. So as soon as I got my pocket money, I was like, right, I'm buying the fucking Nirvana t-shirt with corporate whore on the back. I was like, it felt even better to win it.
Exactly. Yeah. You want that antagonistic thing, and when you're young, you like rubbing up against the world around you in a conflict-driven way is like the best thing. You know, like it's why I think all of us get into music and punk and anything else, is that we're kind of like conflict-ridden dickheads at the end of the day.
I'm happy to announce that I'm a complete dickhead, but it's worth it. But it all changed for me when I went to see a band live. So when I was only 13, I went to see Green Day on their Dookie tour.
Oh, amazing.
And I couldn't believe that like Billy Joe Armstrong was playing guitar, singing and performing so well, but there was only 3 people on stage. I kept looking for like, is there another guitarist?
I don't think they had the hidden guitar player at that point.
Didn't, and it was unbelievable. But what was those first gigs that you remember going to that kind of made those hairs on your neck stick up, or you made you want to pick up a fucking microphone or guitar, or just
the first 2 concerts I ever went to, which were like legitimate concerts, were Blink-182.
Amazing.
One time was Sum 41, Newfound Glory, Blink-182, and then the second time was Jimmy Eat World, Green Day, Blink-182.
Jimmy Eat World were here last year. I interviewed Jim Atkin, one of the best songwriters of my generation. I think. Like his lyrics, Clarity for me is a textbook album. Like it doesn't get much better than that. And Bleed American, like
Bleed American, I get the I think it was the sweetness that gets stuck in my head all the time. But the first like proper punk show I went to was the Attics, and that was like life changing because it was small and you know, I got on stage and stage dove, and like it was unique because it was more akin to what we do now, where it's very reachable with the audience member, and the energy is reciprocated back and forth, like it's handed back and forth between the audience and the band. And I mean, that was life-changing for sure. I mean, it was amazing to go to big concerts and be in seats very far away from the stage, but to go to a concert and be like on and off the stage with the band is like
unbelievable.
You can't
I don't know what it's about. Like maybe it's like me, but I can't sit down at gigs. Even if it's sold out, I'd rather not go. I'm old and I like to sit down, and after 2 hours, like I recently went to see Paramore and they did like a 2.5 hour set, and I was like, I need to sit down. But at the same time, I really wanted just to fucking enjoy the show, and I feel like if I'm sat down, there's this barrier where I'm a bit cut off, like I'm watching it on a DVD or something, you know?
It's interesting because there are shows where I do sit down, but I definitely feel less engaged at those shows.
Yeah.
It's less worth it. If you choose to sit down, it seems like maybe it's a little less worth being there. I
mean, some bands make you. Like I went to see Tool and they made you sit down, so I was like, okay.
Well, they don't want to mosh pit, you know.
But it was a nice theater experience.
Yeah, I mean, I think about the bands I've watched sitting down, like Slow Dive, you know, like that's a show you want to sit down. I'm not standing up for a 2 hours Slow Dive set. You know, I've seen Guided by Voices play 100 songs, and I stood up for the entire goddamn time,
insane.
4.5 hour set. So
Bruce Springsteen just did like a 3.5 hour set, and I was like, I couldn't do that. Like that is too long.
It's there's limits. There's a logical limit. I didn't even drink back then either, so I was just like stone cold sober, 4.5 hours watching Guided by Voices play 100 songs.
That's insane. I can't imagine them ever doing that again.
I'm thinking about going to their 40th anniversary. I don't think they're going to do 400
songs.
But they're going to do something.
So how does it feel being here today in this beautiful weather, an iconic festival in the UK? You know, it's something nice, isn't there? About it feels like one big happy family. It's the right size, this festival. I love it. I think everyone's got the right vibe. But are you kind of nervous to go on stage and perform?
Nervous for kind of external reasons. We had to have a member leave the tour yesterday.
Okay, so that's completely throwing you in the deep end.
So we're in the deep end for these. Like we have 3 shows left of tour, and we're a man down. So it's a little nerve-wracking switching the pieces around last minute, but ultimately it's just, you know, whatever it has to be done to keep the show going. So
That's crazy.
That's what we're gonna do.
When you come to a place like this, do you kind of look at it as a chance to win new fans instead of relying on the kind of
100%,
hardcores?
yeah. It's, I mean, that's everything we do, and we hope that we're making music that appeals to not just one type of person, and coming to these things and specifically trying to learn, and me as a frontman, try to work a festival audience and figure out what they respond to and what, because I think people come here and they want to be engaged and they want to be involved, you know, but there's still this massive barrier.
Yeah.
So how do you make people see past that massive barrier and still feel involved in your set? And it's a really fun challenge to try to rise and figure out. Not every festival can we do it. Not every festival does it work. But, you know, it's nice to have a challenge and figure it out.
I'm not just saying this, and it must be hard because you're in the band, but there's a real huge buzz about your band at the moment, and it seems to have come really quick. The last time I saw this, and I said this literally on the way here today, the last time I saw something like this was with Turnstile, where people started listening to Turnstile, and within a few weeks, everyone was like, fucking hell, this band's incredible. Honestly, dude, I'm not just saying this because you're sat here, and I've had this conversation a couple of times this weekend. Military Gun are just blowing up on a huge rate. Is it a bit hard to kind of digest and see it happening around you?
We don't feel it.
No.
It's a type of thing where we have people like yourself telling us that that's happening, but we're still in the van every day. The show sizes, you know, like we're just supporting. We're like, you know, it's not like our lives are changing overnight, and we've been working for so hard. That is another similar analog to Turnstile, is that Turnstile was a band for 10 years
and
before
people forget
that.
This.
You know,
yeah.
They just wrote a really great record, and we wanted to write a really great record, and that was where our priority was writing a really great record and putting it out. And we've had that record written for so long that all the touring we've done since the first tour has been to lay the path for this moment. So for us, it's not immediate, because our first tour, we did 50 shows. It was more than 50 days, but we did 50 shows. And on that tour, we were listening to the demos of the exact sequence of this record during the duration of that tour. So we just wanted to make the path towards this record and hopefully leave a breadcrumb trail that made sense for people, so that when the record came out, they weren't disappointed or turned off, or like, oh, they've changed so much or whatever, you know, like. So for us, it's, you know, we're glad that it is perceived that way, but on our end, it's just, we're still just doing work. We're just, you know, it's the labor, it's the love of it, and it's the getting up there and doing it and trying to do it better every day.
I'm not just saying this, and I've had this conversation with Claire. At the moment, we're sat here in July. It's the album of the year for me. It's textbook.
It means a lot. It means a lot.
Fucking epic, dude. And when you were writing it and you were recording it, did you kind of have in mind to play these songs live? Because sometimes you go and see a band and it's so well produced with 20 different guitar takes, and it's so polished that when you go and see them live, it's never going to live up to it. But you guys pull it off. You play a set and it still sounds as good as the record.
I mean, it's a hope. I mean, we try to add the harmonies. I don't commit to anything that I don't believe that with work that we cannot pull off. You know, like my goal over time is to have a sixth member who's playing keys and doing additional backups and percussion, because that's on the record, and I would like to build it into a more essential part of the records than anything. So, you know, we put a lot of emphasis on the live show and trying to figure out how to be a better live band. Obviously, today we're going to have our trials and tribulations with that being down a member, but I don't know. We put a lot of work into it and trying to make it the best live performance we can, and we're not there yet. We're not anywhere near where I want to be, but I think we will be soon. That's
beautiful, though, because you're humble. You're growing at such a rate. As an outsider, we see it. You don't, but we see how much you're blowing up. And I think the fact that you are still in your brain telling yourself you're not ready, you're not big enough yet, you are not perfected on your live set, means you're only going to evolve, you're only going to grow. Some of my favourite bands out there, Thrice, I absolutely adore. I think they're one of the best bands on the planet. Paramore, Radiohead, they all evolve. And I see you having a future like that. I see you guys never resting on your morals.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, I mean, we have a lot more songs written, and it's about trying to figure out how to capture those songs next and keep, you know, it's always risking not isolation from your fan base, but because you want. My big thing is like I think a lot of bands try to make a new sound and abandon what they've come from or whatever, which is not my goal at all. But I still want to make the next better thing that actually is interesting to me. To go back to what you're saying again about the external thing, I just always feel like I never know what's real and what's industry. You know, like industry is different than reality.
Of course.
And it's important to know that as a band, as like.
But you talk to fans every day, and that's not industry. And the fans are telling you that they love you. The fans are saying they love this song, they love that song. The fans are telling you the album's great. They're the people that matter.
Yeah, no, it's true, and it's amazing. You know, like I've never signed so many records in my life, and you know, I never thought that would be a reality. That would be the case, and yeah, I don't know. It's just a very interesting time, and again, I think just because we write so much, to me, I'm 3 years ahead, being like, how are we gonna put this into the world, and what are people gonna think of those songs? You know, like where it is amazing what we're doing now, but you know, it's a sickness, is all it is. It's a sickness.
Does it put you under pressure knowing that this album's had such a great kind of reaction out there that you need to follow it up and top it? Because you don't just want to be like, yeah, we're known for this one great album, and then we kind of fucked it up afterwards.
There's pressure in a way, but ultimately, I only care about what I think about the music. And if it collapses us to write a record that I greatly love, I'll go with that collapse. You know, like I have full faith that it would either be found in time or whatever.
It will be a grower.
Yeah.
10 years after, it's still a grower.
But I purposely overwrite and keep writing after a project is finished because I'm afraid of the feedback loop of the audience, of trying to make something that someone else expects me to make. I would rather be like, well, I've already made all these songs and I'm obsessed with them and I'm proud of them. Therefore, I don't care what anyone else thinks about them. Where if I waited to write songs to see how people reacted, then I'm trying to like make the expectation, and then that could never be something I'm fully proud of.
Is it a case of that you would then be trying to write for everyone else?
Yeah.
Tick everyone else's boxes, which is impossible because no one else is the same.
Exactly. Well, and that's the thing is, you know, I even see people be like, oh, I can't believe I drove 5 hours to see this band. I hate this new record or something, you know, and you're like, well, I'm sorry that you feel that way, but I'm not writing the record for you, I'm writing the record for me, so.
Well, as long as you keep in that kind of mindset and only write for you, you're never going to be let down because you're doing what you want to do for you.
Yeah, exactly. So the criticism, like people can criticize this record, you know, there is a lot of great things being said, but then there's also, as with any record that gets hype, there's detractors.
I've not seen that yet. I mean, I go on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and everyone loves you.
I mute every person that says something negative, so it's like, because for my own sanity, you know, like, because I dwell on it.
Isn't it weird that like I've had this podcast going for 5 years, and there's like 1,000 people saying 5 stars, love it, love the interviews, but the one person that's like, it's pretty shit, that hits me hard. I'm like,
100%.
You fucker. Like, how can you say that? Like, you've destroyed me. And I forget then the 999 people that were all lovely.
I value so much more the critical ones. I mean, I think it's a valuable trait though, because if you just think you're great all the time, you're kind of bullshit, you know? Like,
that's fair.
And I'd rather be closer to assuming that I'm shit and have to work harder than thinking I'm some massively great songwriter and performer. Like, there's always room for growth, and I think the best records are out of growing, you know. So.
It's so true, man. And I think like I learn from the one negative and make it a positive. Like, I try and win that person round. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I want to see your username one day say I was wrong, or yeah, he got better.
Yeah, I mean, I don't keep tabs in that way. I keep tabs on people.
You mute them all, so you can't.
I mute them, yeah. But then I'm like, if they're in a band or something, I'm like, I will destroy you.
I will find you. I will destroy you, and I'll make sure you never get to play with us ever again.
Yes, 100%.
So as we're sitting here right now, you've obviously got this festival appearance, and then have you got any dates or minds kind of come back and play a UK tour?
Or? Full UK in December.
This is good news.
Full UK in December, yeah. We'll be, I don't know when this podcast comes out, but we're announcing in like the next 2 weeks.
That's fine. I will release it next week, but I will not tell anyone that you've told me this. But that's exciting. End the year in the UK on a massive tour.
Yeah, we're doing like our first full like European headline. So we're gonna do like a couple weeks on the mainland, then I think like maybe close to 10 days in the UK. So
That's awesome.
we're very excited. We love the UK. We've played here so much already, and we're excited to see how it goes for doing our own shows, because we haven't had the chance. We did the George Tavern in London, but that was kind of like an easy one to do,
that's
you
fair.
know. And so because of that, it's exciting to the idea that we're going to come back and really see where it's connecting or not connecting with people, you know?
I think you'll be surprised, and I think it'll sell quicker than you realise. Those venues will be full, and you're going to have an amazing end to the year.
Just don't count your chickens before they hatch is the important part, you know?
I'm going to come, so that's one ticket sold already.
Putting a show on sale is terrifying,
Yeah.
because then you get the ticket counts every week, and you're just like, people aren't going to show up. People show up, but you know, you're just like, it's anxiety-inducing.
It's mad what we put ourselves through, isn't it? Like, some people will be like, you're insane, but you kind of get off on it as well.
I mean, the pressure is obviously a part of the process. So it's like, if you don't do well this time, then maybe next time. All right. I was trying to get Naya from Zulu's attention, but haven't seen him yet.
No, that's fair, man. What I do on this podcast, and it's my last question for you today, is everyone that comes on gets the same question. The last piece of music that's played after we've had this interview, you get to choose. It can be any song, any band, anyone in the world. You're going to struggle because you write music, you love music, it's your life. So you've got to whittle it down to one. But what I do say to people is pick the one that came to your head and your heart first.
Under You by Foo Fighters.
What a fucking tune.
It like sounds like a Dinosaur Jr. track almost.
It does.
I've been obsessed with that song lately. I've been listening to it on repeat, and
do you think it's really
I mean, not that the Foo Fighters need more publicity from me, but you know, it also feels kind of tied in with our record. We recorded our record at Dave Grohl's Studio 606,
That's
so
amazing.
I believe recorded the same studio as the new Foo Fighters record.
Do you find it quite strange with the production of that record? It feels like the rawness of the first album again. It feels like Foo Fighters.
Feels amazing,
I
yeah.
like the drum sound isn't incredibly polished. It's like a weird snare, but the distorted vocals, the guitar. It sounds like a demo at times.
Yeah.
I love it.
I absolutely love and adore the record. And yeah, first song that came to mind, I heard, you know, like I heard that guitar lead, and it's just such a catchy pop rock song. And I think that that's the type of shit I love. So I should have gone with something more obscure.
No,
but
it's good. It's fine, and anyone loves the Foos. But what was it like getting to record in that studio? Because that's a legendary studio now.
I mean, yeah, we recorded on the board that, you know, Nevermind was recorded on.
With Butch Vig there making it sound.
No Butch Vig for us personally.
No, of course
we had
not.
Taylor Young, which is just as good in the modern day, in my opinion.
Of course. But history was made on that desk.
Yeah. I mean, it was incredible. It was frustrating because the Foos were in the other room. But it was very COVID. This was January 2022 that we recorded the album there.
Wow.
So we were like masked up, like they were mixing songs from the movie in the other room, and we weren't allowed to meet them because of that. So it was a frustrating thing for us as being really big fans to be, you know,
like,
literally
Dave, how you doing?
like my van is parked next to Dave's car. Outside in the parking lot.
Dave, do you want to come in and just do a bit of vocals? Or drumming?
So I don't know. I hope Dave someday hears the record and it's like.
Well, hopefully he's listening to this.
Yeah,
If you are,
I don't know how big your podcast is, but let's
5
see.
million listeners, man. It's going to be if there's one person in there, that 5 million, it could be Dave Grohl.
I hope.
And if I ever meet him at a festival, I'll tell him to listen to your album.
Okay, please.
And
please
take
do.
you on tour.
And tell him that we did it at the studio.
It was the car next door that nearly hit his. I'd be like, that was him.
That really shitty van that you saw, that was the guy from this band's.
Dude, it's been a pleasure to meet you today. I will come and see you in December.
Thank you.
I want to come to your show in the UK, and if you want, we can sit down again and talk in more detail when it's not a festival, when you got longer, delve deeper into your lyrics, your music, everything else.
Anytime.
That'd be awesome, man.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for coming on, buddy.
Thank you.
So that brings us to the end of this podcast special at 2000trees, and you can see why I left Military Gun to the end. What an interview, what a guy, what a band, and you may have just gotten a kind of an exclusive there that they're going to be playing the UK, and I can't recommend seeing this band enough. Absolutely phenomenal. And the album for me, as it stands right now, is currently my album of the year. They're that good. Now, if you've enjoyed today's episode and you've listened and you think this is great, please go on Facebook, Twitter or Instagram and share it, because there's a lot of bands, a lot of different genres of music, and hopefully some of your friends or people that you follow or your followers will see this and then go and check out the podcast. And that's the way that Mark and Me builds its audience. I don't have a marketing team, I don't have a budget, it's literally an independent one-man team. So if you've enjoyed today's episode, please share it. You have no idea just how much it means to me and how much it can really help grow Mark and Me. I do also have a Patreon account and the link is on markandme.com, or you can hit the subscribe button on Apple Podcasts. This then allows me to go and travel the country, go into all these festivals, record these podcasts, and that doesn't come cheap, but then you guys at home get even more episodes, so it really is massively appreciated. And in return, not only do you get extra episodes, you get an exclusive episode just for supporting me on Patreon. Not only that, you get stickers, a badge, and so much more. And I'm going to make sure that my Patreons get even more going forward, so now's the best time to sign up. I'll be back, honestly, in only 1 day's time with another brand new episode. But just before I go, I want to give another shout out to another sponsor of this podcast, the Folio Society. Those guys are amazing, and I'm launching my first competition with these guys next week. They have the best books in the business, so visit thefoliosociety.com for more information. Right, I've got so much editing to do, I can't wait to share these interviews, so stick around, look after yourself, take care, share these episodes, and I'll speak to you all very soon.